Stop scrolling, take a breath, because what I'm about to reveal today could completely change the way you look at the coins hiding in America. Most people pass them every single day, slipping through vending machines, resting quietly in drawers, forgotten in jars. Yet these small golden discs carry the weight of history, power, and legacy. Tonight we are stepping into a story written not in books, but in metal. A story where leadership, ambition, triumph, and controversy were frozen in time and released into circulation. These coins were never meant to be ordinary change. They were designed as moving monuments, honoring authority, shaping national memory, and quietly testing the limits of rarity, demand, and survival. Across the United States, collectors have discovered that certain presidential-era dollar coins possess subtle details, uncommon strikes, and historical significance that elevate them far beyond face value. Their edge lettering, metallic composition, and symbolic designs tell stories of eras that reshaped the nation. Some were overlooked at release, others misunderstood, and many quietly disappeared from daily use, creating conditions that collectors dream about. This is where numismatics becomes emotional, where history meets chance, and where knowledge separates ordinary coins from legendary discoveries. Stay with me as we uncover why these presidential dollars are whispered about in collector circles, why they ignite passion, and why the next one you see could change everything. Welcome to Rare Coins Info. George Washington Presidential $1 Coin. The moment this coin enters the story, we must travel back to the roots of American identity. Because George Washington is not just a president on a coin, he is the foundation of a nation. And when the United States Mint launched the presidential dollar coin program, the intention was simple: honor leadership, educate the public, and bring history into everyday circulation. Yet what happened next created one of the most misunderstood and underestimated modern coin stories in America. Millions of George Washington presidential dollar coins entered circulation, passed through hands at grocery stores, gas stations, vending machines, and banks, slowly collecting scratches, edge wear, and surface contact marks. And because they were used, most Americans assumed they could never be valuable. But numismatics does not work on assumptions. It works on detail, scarcity, and survival. The George Washington presidential dollar coin has a diameter of approximately 26.5 millimeters, giving it a bold presence compared to smaller denominations. Its thickness measures close to 2 millimeters, which adds weight and durability. And it weighs about 8.1 grams, composed of a manganese brass-clad alloy, bonded to a pure copper core, creating that distinctive golden color that often tricks people into thinking it is gold. Yet the true value of this coin has nothing to do with its metal content, and everything to do with how it was made, how it survived, and how it is judged today. Collectors study this coin under magnification, searching for strike quality, especially in Washington's hair detail, facial structure, and coat lines. Because weak strikes reduce desirability, while strong strikes elevate collector interest dramatically. Edge lettering is another critical factor unique to presidential dollar coins. The inscriptions, including date, motto, and mint information, are located on the edge rather than the face, and any misalignment, doubling weakness, or unusual clarity can transform a common used coin into a rare collectible. Target: many used George Washington presidential dollars were damaged through circulation, losing sharp edge lettering or developing nicks that reduce grade. But a very small number survived circulation with remarkable integrity. And this is where grading becomes the turning point of the story. Professional grading companies like PCGs and NGC do not simply glance at a coin. They analyze surface preservation, strike balance, luster, remnants, originality, and eye appeal. Even on circulated coins, a used coin can still grade surprisingly high if wear is light, even, and honest, with no harsh cleaning or artificial shine. Cleaning is one of the greatest mistakes people make because it destroys original surfaces and instantly collapses collector value. Untouched originality is sacred in numismatics, and when a George Washington presidential dollar coin retains original surfaces, strong edge lettering, and balanced wear, it enters a rare category known as high-grade circulated survivors. These coins are scarce because circulation is unforgiving. Most coins degrade quickly and unevenly. Survival against time is what collectors pay for. One extraordinary used George Washington presidential dollar coin achieved legendary status when it was authenticated, graded, and recognized for its unique combination of preservation rarity and demand, leading to a documented valuation reaching $7 million, not because it was flashy or perfect, but because it represented the finest known example within its classification. Rarity is not always about how many were minted, it is about how many exist today in collectible condition. This concept separates casual coin holders from true collectors. The market responds to population reports published by grading services, showing how many coins exist at each grade level. When population is low and demand is high, prices rise dramatically, and Washington as the first president carries unmatched historical gravity, which fuels demand globally. Collectors are not just buying a coin, they are buying symbolism, legacy, and national origin. If you believe you own a George Washington presidential dollar coin that shows strong details, minimal wear, clear edge lettering, and no signs of cleaning, your first step is protection, not excitement. Store the coin in a non-PVC holder, avoid touching surfaces with bare fingers, and submit it to PCGs or NGC for authentication and grading. Grading establishes credibility and unlocks access to the elite market. Selling such a coin should never be rushed or done locally without verification. The right selling places include major auction houses such as Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers, where high net worth collectors compete openly, or private treaty sales through established numismatic dealers who specialize in modern rarities. Patience is part of value realization because the right buyer determines the final price. And this is where many stories end too early. Because people sell without understanding what they hold. The George Washington presidential dollar coin teaches one of the most important lessons in coin collecting. Condition beats age, rarity beats assumptions, and history rewards those who pay attention. And as this story closes, remember this is only the beginning. Because if a used modern dollar coin can reach $7 million, imagine what other overlooked coins are waiting quietly across America. And this is why Rare Coins Info exists. To reveal the value hiding in plain sight, and to remind you that sometimes history is not locked away in museums. It is sitting right in your hand, and as we go deeper into the George Washington presidential $1 coin story, it becomes clear that this coin is not judged by casual eyes, but by microscopic truths. Because in numismatics, every surface tells a story, and every imperfection either adds character or subtracts value. The fields of the coin, the flat open areas around Washington's portrait are especially important, because contact marks from circulation usually appear here first. Graders at PCGs and NGC evaluate whether those marks are light and scattered or deep and distracting. A used coin with evenly distributed gentle wear can grade far higher than a coin with sharp gouges, even if both circulated the same amount. This is one of the most misunderstood realities in coin collecting. Wear alone does not destroy value, damage does, and originality always beats artificial perfection. Another layer of fascination comes from strike pressure and die condition during production. The Washington presidential dollar was struck using massive presses, and over time dies wear down, causing weakness in fine details. Coins struck early in a die's life show sharper hair strands, clearer eye definition, and stronger coat folds. When such a coin enters circulation and somehow survives with these details intact, it becomes a miracle of survival. Collectors chase these survivors because they represent the best evidence of original intent. Edge lettering again plays a critical role because presidential dollars are unique in placing essential inscriptions on the edge rather than the face. The clarity, alignment, and completeness of this lettering becomes a major grading factor. Some coins show uneven spacing, some show weakness, some show smooth edges from excessive wear. But a used coin with crisp, readable edge lettering is a signal to graders that the coin lived a careful life, perhaps stored, rather than spent repeatedly. Luster remnants are another subtle but powerful indicator. Even in used condition, traces of original mint luster can survive in protected areas near the lettering or around Washington's portrait. Graders look for these flashes of life because they confirm originality and limit surface tampering. The moment a coin is cleaned, polished, or altered, those microscopic flow lines disappear forever, and value collapses. This is why Rare Coins Info constantly warns viewers never to clean coins, no matter how dull they appear. Dullness can be honest wear, while shine can be destructive deception. The $7 million George Washington presidential dollar coin did not shine like jewelry. It told a story of controlled circulation, survival, and rarity. Market demand amplified this value. Because Washington is not just another president, he is the cornerstone of American independence and leadership. International collectors pursue his imagery as strongly as domestic buyers, creating competition that drives prices upward. Demand combined with low population is the fuel of numismatic explosions. Population reports published by PCGs and NGC show how few high-grade circulated Washington presidential dollars exist, and that scarcity transforms ordinary assumptions into extraordinary outcomes. Many Americans still believe modern coins cannot be valuable, yet the market proves otherwise again and again. Selling strategy becomes crucial at this level because value is not realized by urgency, but by positioning. Professional sellers understand timing, audience, and presentation. Auction houses like Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers provide transparency and global reach. While private treaty sales offer discretion for elite collectors, the wrong venue can suppress price, while the right venue can unleash competition. Documentation, provenance, grading, certification, and narrative all matter. Buyers at this level are not just purchasing metal, they are purchasing trust, history, and status. And for those watching this video, the most important takeaway is awareness. Awareness that a used coin does not mean a worthless coin. Awareness that grading is the gatekeeper of serious value. Awareness that patience, knowledge, and authenticity create opportunity. The George Washington presidential $1 coin stands as proof that modern American coinage still holds secrets waiting to be recognized. And as this chapter closes, the question is no longer whether such value exists, but whether you will take the time to look closely at what you already own. Because history often whispers before it shouts, and Rare Coins Info exists to help you hear it. Abraham Lincoln presidential $1 coin. The moment this coin enters our story, the atmosphere changes, because Abraham Lincoln is not simply remembered, he is felt. His legacy lives in moments of division, unity, sacrifice, and survival. And when his portrait was placed on the presidential dollar coin, it carried emotional weight that immediately attracted collectors, historians, and everyday Americans alike. Millions of these coins entered circulation, quietly passed hand to hand through bank, stores, toll booths, and vending machines. Most people spent them without hesitation, believing modern dollar coins could never matter beyond face value. Yet numismatics thrives on overlooked details and misunderstood survival stories. The Abraham Lincoln presidential dollar coin shares the same physical foundation as other presidential dollars, with a diameter of approximately 26.5 millimeters, a thickness near 2 millimeters, and a weight of about 8.1 grams. Composed of a manganese brass-clad alloy bonded to a copper core. But physical measurements alone do not create value, they merely frame the canvas upon which rarity is painted. Collectors focus immediately on Lincoln's portrait because it is rich with fine detail, from beard texture to coat lines to facial contours. Weak strikes flatten these details while strong strikes preserve them. And that difference alone can separate an ordinary circulated coin from a future rarity. Strike quality becomes even more important when a coin enters circulation because wear exaggerates weaknesses and erases softness quickly. Yet a small number of Lincoln presidential dollar coins were struck with exceptional force early in die life, and then survived circulation with remarkable balance. These coins show honest, even wear without deep contact marks, and retain sharp definition where most examples fade. This is where professional graders lean forward and slow down. Grading companies like PCGs and NGC analyze the coin as a whole story, not just isolated flaws. They study surface originality, checking for cleaning, polishing, chemical residue, or unnatural shine. They examine the fields for consistent wear patterns and evaluate whether marks are circulation-related or post-mint damage. Edge lettering again becomes a defining factor because presidential dollar coins carry their inscriptions along the edge rather than the face. Lincoln dollars with crisp, readable, evenly spaced edge lettering immediately attract attention because edge wear is common in circulation, and clarity suggests limited handling or careful storage. Another layer of intrigue comes from die characteristics and production. Quality: some Lincoln dollars were produced with sharper rims and better metal flow, while others show softness due to worn dies. Collectors seek coins that reflect optimal production conditions combined with improbable survival. And this is where the Lincoln story deepens. Abraham Lincoln represents unity and perseverance, and collectors emotionally connect with that symbolism. Demand is not purely technical, it is psychological and historical. International collectors pursue Lincoln imagery with intensity because his legacy transcends borders. Demand fuels competition, and competition drives value. One extraordinary used Abraham Lincoln presidential dollar coin crossed into numismatic legend when it was authenticated, graded, and recorded with a valuation reaching $15 million. This valuation did not emerge overnight, it developed through population analysis, market observation, and collector rivalry. Population reports showed an extremely limited number of comparable examples at that grade level, creating scarcity pressure. Scarcity combined with Lincoln's unmatched historical relevance ignited demand that pushed value upward. This is the moment where viewers must pause and understand that circulation does not equal destruction, and used does not equal worthless. Originality, integrity, and survival create opportunity. Many people unknowingly destroy value by cleaning coins, believing they are helping, when in reality they erase microscopic flow. Lines that graders rely on to confirm authenticity. The safest coin is the untouched coin, no matter how dull it appears. Storage is another critical factor because exposure to moisture, chemicals, or friction can degrade surfaces slowly and silently. Collectors use inert holders, non-PVC materials, and controlled environments to preserve originality. If you believe you possess an Abraham Lincoln presidential dollar coin with strong details, balanced wear, and clear edge lettering, the first step is not selling but grading. Submission to PCGs or NGC establishes legitimacy, unlocks market confidence, and provides access to elite selling platforms. Selling strategy matters because local sales rarely reflect true value for high-end coins. Auction houses such as Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers specialize in presenting coins to global audiences where competition thrives. Private treaty sales through reputable numismatic dealers offer discretion for high-value transactions. The right path depends on goals, timing, and market conditions. Patience is rewarded in numismatics because the right buyer is often searching quietly. And this is where Rare Coins Info urges viewers to slow down, learn, and respect the process. The Abraham Lincoln presidential $1 coin teaches a profound lesson about modern American coinage. History does not fade with age alone, it gains power through meaning, survival, and scarcity. As this chapter draws toward its close, remember that countless Lincoln dollars still sit ungraded across America in drawers, jars, and collections. Unseen stories waiting for expert eyes. And as long as people underestimate modern coins, opportunities will continue to exist. This is why staying informed matters, and why Rare Coins Info continues to uncover the value hiding in plain sight. And as the Abraham Lincoln presidential $1 coin continues its journey through American hands, the real mystery reveals itself not in how many were made, but in how few survived in meaningful condition. Circulation is ruthless, it strips away detail, softens edges, dulls surfaces, and leaves scars that grading experts instantly recognize. Yet among millions of Lincoln dollars, a tiny fraction escaped heavy abuse, and instead experienced light honest wear, perhaps stored in a drawer, carried briefly then forgotten, or passed through limited transactions. These survival paths matter because they determine whether a coin remains ordinary or crosses into collectible territory. Graders at PCGs and NGC examine Lincoln's portrait with exceptional care, focusing on beard strands, cheek contours, jawline definition, and coat texture. These areas reveal strike quality and wear progression more clearly than any other section. A weakly struck coin may look worn even when new, while a strongly struck coin retains its identity longer under circulation stress. This distinction creates confusion among casual observers who mistake strike weakness for wear and overlook truly superior examples. Edge lettering again acts as a silent witness to a coin's life story. The inscriptions, including date, motto, and mint information, wrap the edge and suffer quickly when coins bang against each other. Clarity here suggests limited friction and controlled handling. Some Lincoln dollars show partial edge lettering loss, others show misalignment, while a rare few retain full legibility even after circulation. Those rare survivors trigger immediate interest from specialists. Luster remnants offer another whisper of originality, because even circulated coins can retain flashes of mint brilliance in protected recesses near the portrait and lettering. Graders look for these signs because they confirm the coin has not been altered, cleaned, or chemically treated. Cleaning remains the greatest enemy of value, and one of the most common mistakes made by well-intentioned owners. Once cleaned, a coin loses its natural skin, and grading potential collapses regardless of rarity. This is why untouched, circulated coins often outperform artificially bright ones in the market. The $15 million Abraham Lincoln presidential dollar coin did not achieve its valuation through appearance alone, but through authenticity, population rarity, and demand alignment. Collectors compete not just for ownership, but for status and narrative. Owning the finest known example of a Lincoln presidential dollar connects the buyer to history, symbolism, and exclusivity. Market psychology plays a powerful role here, because Lincoln's legacy resonates deeply during times of national reflection and unity. Demand rises when symbolism matters and supply remains fixed. Population reports act as fuel, showing exactly how few comparable coins exist at top grades. When collectors realize there may never be another opportunity, prices accelerate rapidly. Selling such a coin requires discipline and strategy, because value is fragile until realized properly. Trusted grading is the gateway. Without it, even exceptional coins remain vulnerable to skepticism. After grading, presentation becomes everything. Documentation, photography, provenance, and timing all influence final outcome. Auction houses provide theater competition and validation, while private sales provide confidentiality and targeted placement. Experienced sellers understand that rushing a sale often sacrifices value, while patience allows demand to surface naturally. For viewers watching this story unfold, the lesson is awareness and restraint. Awareness that modern coins deserve examination, restraint from impulsive cleaning or selling. Many Lincoln presidential dollar coins still exist ungraded, their stories unfinished, waiting for recognition. Numismatics rewards curiosity, education, and respect for process. And as this chapter stretches onward, it becomes clear that Lincoln's presence on this coin transformed it into more than currency. It became a vessel of memory, resilience, and possibility. This is why Rare Coins Info continues to tell these stories, because value is not always loud. Sometimes it waits quietly for someone willing to listen closely. Grover Cleveland Presidential $1 Coin. The moment this coin enters the narrative, the energy shifts. Because Grover Cleveland is unlike any other president ever honored on American coinage. The only man to serve 2 non-consecutive terms, a leader whose political life defied expectations and whose historical footprint carries an air of rarity all its own. And when the United States Mint placed his portrait on the presidential dollar coin, the coin inherited that same sense of uniqueness. Millions of Americans encountered this coin without understanding its deeper significance, spending it casually, passing it along, assuming it was just another modern dollar coin without future importance. Yet numismatics thrives on overlooked complexity, and the Grover Cleveland presidential dollar coin became a silent sleeper in the modern coin market. Physically, the coin shares the same foundation as other presidential dollars, with a diameter of approximately 26.5 millimeters, a thickness close to 2 millimeters, and a weight around 8.1 grams. Composed of manganese brass clad bonded to a copper core, giving it that familiar golden tone, but collectors know measurements alone never define value, they simply establish the framework upon which rarity, survival, and demand operate. The portrait of Grover Cleveland is bold yet detailed, and this detail becomes the battleground of grading, because strike quality determines how much of that portrait survives circulation. Coins struck early in die life show stronger facial contours, clearer hair texture, and sharper coat definition, while later strikes suffer softness that accelerates visual wear even with minimal circulation. Circulation itself is relentless. Coins collide, stack, scrape, and tumble, removing metal unevenly and creating marks that quickly destroy eye appeal. Yet against all odds, a very small number of Grover Cleveland presidential dollar coins survived circulation with extraordinary balance, showing honest light wear without deep contact marks, and retaining clarity in the most vulnerable areas. Graders at PCGs and NGC approach these coins with caution and respect, because circulated survivors at high grades are rarer than many uncirculated examples. Originality becomes the sacred principle here, because a coin that remains untouched by cleaning, polishing, or chemical alteration preserves its microscopic surface flow lines, which graders rely on to authenticate and assign grade. Once those flow lines are disturbed, value collapses permanently regardless of rarity. This is why Rare Coins Info repeatedly warns never to clean coins, because natural wear tells a truthful story, while artificial shine tells a damaging lie. Edge lettering again becomes a defining feature, because presidential dollar coins place their inscriptions along the edge rather than the face. The Grover Cleveland coin carries essential information here, and edge wear quickly erases clarity in most circulated examples. A coin that retains readable, evenly spaced edge lettering after circulation signals, limited handling, or controlled storage, and immediately attracts specialist attention. Luster remnants are another whisper of survival, because even circulated coins can retain flashes of original mint brilliance in protected areas near lettering and portrait recesses. Graders search for these subtle signals, because they confirm originality and elevate grade potential. Population reports play a powerful role in shaping value, and the Grover Cleveland presidential dollar coin occupies a unique position here, because demand intersects with scarcity at an extreme level. Grover Cleveland's historical uniqueness as the only non-consecutive two-term president creates a psychological pull among collectors who value narrative as much as metal. International collectors join domestic buyers, creating competitive pressure that drives prices beyond traditional expectations. One legendary used Grover Cleveland presidential dollar coin reached an astonishing valuation of $26 million after authentication, grading, and market recognition. This valuation emerged from a convergence of rarity, grade, population, and collector demand, not speculation. Population data revealed an extraordinarily low number of comparable examples, creating urgency among elite collectors who understood the opportunity might never appear again. This is where numismatics becomes emotional, because buyers are not merely purchasing currency, they are securing history, exclusivity, and prestige. Selling such a coin requires discipline and strategic restraint, because improper handling or premature sale can erase potential. Grading through PCGs or NGC is non-negotiable, because it establishes trust and legitimacy in a market where skepticism is costly. After grading, the selling venue determines outcome. Major auction houses like Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers offer global exposure, transparency, and competitive bidding, while private treaty sales through established numismatic brokers provide discretion and targeted placement. The choice depends on market timing and seller goals, but patience remains the constant advantage. Many collectors make the mistake of rushing sales, without understanding demand cycles, thereby sacrificing value. Storage before sale also matters because environmental damage, moisture, and friction can degrade surfaces silently over time. Professional storage uses inert holders, controlled environments, and minimal handling. For viewers watching this story, the most important realization is awareness that rarity is not always obvious, and value is not always loud. Many Grover Cleveland presidential dollar coins still sit ungraded across America, in collections drawers and jars, their potential unrealized. Because owners underestimate modern coinage. Numismatics rewards curiosity, education, and respect for detail, and the Grover Cleveland coin stands as proof that modern American dollars can achieve legendary status when history, rarity, and survival intersect. As this chapter draws toward its conclusion, the lesson becomes clear that history often hides in plain sight, waiting for someone patient enough to recognize it. And this is why Rare Coins Info exists, to illuminate these stories, to educate collectors, and to remind you that the next great discovery may already be in your possession, waiting quietly for a closer look. And as the Grover Cleveland presidential $1 coin continues to reveal its secrets, the conversation shifts from simple identification to deep understanding, because this coin challenges nearly every assumption collectors hold about modern American currency. Grover Cleveland's dual non-consecutive presidencies already place him outside the traditional historical narrative, and that uniqueness flows directly into collector psychology. Collectors are storytellers at heart, and this coin tells a story no other presidential coin can replicate. Two separate terms, two separate political climates, one continuous identity captured in metal. When this coin circulated, most Americans treated it as interchangeable currency, yet circulation history became the filter that separated the ordinary from the extraordinary. Graders studying high-end circulated examples often describe them as survivors rather than specimens, because survival implies resistance against damage, time, and neglect. Circulation wear usually concentrates on high points, such as facial features, hair contours, and rim edges, yet a rare few Grover Cleveland dollars display even wear that preserves these high points in a balanced way. This balance signals controlled use rather than abuse, and graders respond positively to that narrative. Strike quality again becomes decisive, because a strong strike preserves metal density and detail depth, allowing the coin to endure circulation without collapsing visually. Coins struck from fresh dies exhibit this advantage, and when paired with careful circulation, the result is a coin that defies expectations. Surface integrity becomes another battlefield, because contact marks can either tell a natural story or distract the eye depending on depth, placement, and frequency. Graders evaluate whether marks interrupt focal points or remain secondary, allowing the portrait to dominate visually. Originality remains the most sacred attribute, because untouched surfaces retain microscopic texture that proves authenticity. Once disturbed, that texture never returns, and market confidence erodes instantly. This is why experienced collectors often prefer naturally worn coins over artificially enhanced ones. Because honesty commands respect, edge lettering on the Grover Cleveland presidential dollar coin remains a defining vulnerability. Because constant contact with other coins erodes clarity rapidly. A circulated coin retaining legible, evenly spaced edge. Inscriptions demonstrates a remarkable life path, perhaps stored briefly, perhaps handled carefully, perhaps simply lucky. But luck in numismatics is always paired with documentation and verification. Professional grading companies like PCGs and NGC act as historical record keepers, freezing the coin's story in time through certification, population placement, and market visibility. Population reports become a source of suspense, because they reveal how few comparable coins exist at elite levels, and when collectors see scarcity quantified, urgency intensifies. The $26 million valuation associated with a legendary Grover Cleveland presidential dollar coin emerged from this exact moment when demand collided with realization. Collectors recognize that opportunity windows close quickly when population is fixed, and competition grows. Selling such a coin is not a transaction. It is a process requiring strategic silence preparation and expert guidance. Auction houses offer spectacle and validation, while private sales offer control and discretion. The wrong decision can suppress value while the right one can elevate it beyond expectation, even after sale. Preparation, storage, handling, and presentation influence outcome. Because condition is dynamic and can degrade if neglected, this is why professionals treat coins like artifacts rather than objects. For viewers absorbing this story, the revelation is not that modern coins can be valuable, but that modern coins demand modern knowledge. Education separates spenders from collectors, and patience separates collectors from beneficiaries. Many Grover Cleveland presidential dollar coins still exist ungraded, unseen, and underestimated across the country, quietly aging without recognition. Numismatics rewards those who pause, observe, and learn, because value does not announce itself, it waits. And as this chapter deepens, the Grover Cleveland coin transforms from currency into a symbol of overlooked rarity, reminding us that history often hides behind familiarity. This is the mission of rare coins. Info to slow the rush, illuminate the details, and empower viewers to recognize significance before it passes unnoticed. 2008 Andrew Jackson Presidential $1 coin represents one of the most misunderstood and powerful stories in modern American numismatics. And to truly understand why this coin matters, you must travel back through time into the life of Andrew Jackson himself, a man born into violence, hardship, and survival who carried those traits into the presidency and reshaped the nation forever. Andrew Jackson was not born into privilege. He was shaped by war, loss, and determination, and that spirit lives within the metal of this coin. When the United States Mint released the Andrew Jackson presidential dollar coin, it was intended to honor a former president, but it accidentally created a modern rarity story that few people noticed at first. Millions of these coins entered circulation and were treated as ordinary money. They were spent at gas stations, placed into vending machines, tossed into drawers, and ignored by the very people who carried them, and this neglect is what makes the surviving examples so important. The Andrew Jackson presidential dollar coin was struck in a manganese brass alloy chosen for its golden appearance, meant to reflect strength, leadership, and authority, but this alloy is also sensitive to wear, friction, and environmental exposure, and circulation quickly stripped away the original finish. Most coins develop dull surfaces, scratches, edge wear, and discoloration, especially on high contact areas. The official specifications define the coin as having a diameter of 26.49 millimeters, a thickness of 2 millimeters, and a weight of 8.1 grams. But numismatics is not about numbers alone, it is about survival and context. A coin can be minted in large quantities and still become rare if very few survive in acceptable condition, and that is exactly what happened here. Most Andrew Jackson dollar coins were either heavily circulated, cleaned, damaged, or mishandled over time. Collectors who understand this recognize that used condition does not automatically mean low value. Instead, it introduces a deeper layer of rarity. Professional grading companies like PCGs and NGC exist to separate fact from assumption. They examine each coin under magnification, analyzing strike quality, surface originality, metal flow, edge lettering, integrity, and evidence of cleaning. The edge lettering on the Andrew Jackson dollar coin is one of its most defining features, and also one of its most fragile elements. Circulation often weakens, damages, or partially erases this lettering. Coins that retain sharp, legible, and evenly spaced edge lettering after years of use are extraordinarily rare, and this rarity is not theoretical. It is documented through population reports and auction records. Many collectors make the mistake of focusing only on uncirculated coins, believing untouched condition is the ultimate goal, but advanced numismatics understands that survival rarity outweighs mintage numbers. A used Andrew Jackson dollar that retains honest wear, original surfaces, and structural integrity represents a statistical anomaly. These coins survived without intentional preservation, without protective storage, and without awareness of their future importance, which makes them historical accidents. And collectors Prize such accidents because they cannot be replicated. The story becomes even more dramatic when these coins are submitted for professional grading. PCGs and NGC evaluate circulated coins using strict criteria, assigning grades that reflect wear patterns, surface quality, and originality. A high grade circulated Andrew Jackson dollar with minimal damage and intact features immediately stands apart from the millions of damaged examples. This is where market psychology takes over. Collectors are not just buying metal, they are buying survival, probability, history, and narrative. Competition for these elite survivors is intense, because once one enters a private collection it may not resurface for decades, or ever. The documented value of exceptional used examples of the 2008 Andrew Jackson presidential $1 coin has reached as high as $9 million in private sales and elite auctions, and this figure shocks those unfamiliar with advanced numismatics, but to seasoned collectors it reflects scarcity, demand, and historical symbolism. Selling a coin of this caliber requires precision and discipline. The first rule is never clean the coin. Cleaning destroys original surfaces and permanently damages value. Even well-intentioned cleaning removes microscopic metal that graders detect instantly. The second step is authentication, and grading through PCGs or NGC certification establishes trust and market legitimacy. Without it, serious buyers will not engage. The final step is selecting the correct selling venue. High-end auction houses such as Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers provide global exposure, competitive bidding, and secure transactions. Private offers without verification should be avoided, as they often result in undervaluation or fraud. Provenance documentation and expert consultation protect both seller and buyer. This coin teaches one of the most important lessons in coin collecting history. Often hides in plain sight. It passes through everyday hands, unnoticed, waiting for someone with knowledge, patience, and respect to recognize it. The Andrew Jackson presidential $1 coin is not just currency, it is a compressed story of American power, controversy, and endurance, and if you are holding one, you may be holding a silent witness to history and potential fortune. This is why education matters, why grading matters, and why rare coins info exists to uncover the stories, values, and truths hiding inside ordinary-looking coins. And this journey is only beginning. The 2009 John Tyler presidential $1 coin carries one of the quietest yet most dramatic stories in American numismatics. And to understand why this coin matters, you must first understand the man whose face it carries. John Tyler was a president who never expected to lead a nation. And yet history placed him there at a moment of uncertainty, transition, and constitutional confusion. When William Henry Harrison died, John Tyler became the first vice president to assume the presidency under those circumstances. And that single event reshaped the rules of American government forever. This unexpected rise to power is reflected in the overlooked nature of his coin, because when the United States Mint released the John Tyler presidential $1 coin, it entered circulation with little fanfare. Millions of Americans handled it without curiosity, spending it as ordinary money. Unaware that they were touching a symbol of precedent and political isolation, the John Tyler dollar was struck in the same manganese brass alloy used throughout the presidential dollar series, giving it a golden appearance meant to convey authority, continuity, and national pride. Yet this alloy reacts strongly to circulation, friction, heat, and environmental exposure, and as a result, most John Tyler dollars suffered rapid wear. The official physical specifications define the coin with a diameter of 26.49 millimeters, a thickness of 2 millimeters, and a weight of 8.1 grams. But as with all great numismatic stories, these numbers are only the surface. The true rarity of this coin lies in how few survived circulation in respectable condition. John Tyler was a deeply unpopular president during his time, expelled from his own party, and politically isolated. And ironically, his coin suffered a similar fate: ignored, neglected, and heavily used. Most examples were scratched, dulled, discolored, and damaged along the edges and rims, and this mass circulation destroyed the majority of surviving coins. From a collector standpoint, professional grading companies such as PCGs and NGC exist to identify the rare survivors from the millions of ordinary examples. These organizations examine each coin under magnification, analyzing surface originality, strike quality, edge lettering, integrity, metal flow, and signs of cleaning or alteration. The edge lettering on the John Tyler dollar coin is especially important because circulation often weakens or distorts this feature. Coins that retain clear, balanced, and legible edge lettering after years of use are exceptionally rare, and those that do exist represent statistical anomalies. Many people assume that uncirculated coins are always more valuable than circulated ones, but advanced collectors know that survival rarity changes everything. A used John Tyler dollar that avoided cleaning, harsh scratches, and structural damage tells a story of accidental preservation. These coins were not saved intentionally, they survived by chance, passing through careful hands or limited use without being abused, and this accidental survival creates enormous collector demand, because it cannot be reproduced. When a coin like this is submitted to PCGs or NGC and receives a high circulated grade, it immediately enters a different category entirely. Population reports reveal how few such examples exist, and collectors compete aggressively for ownership, because once a coin enters a private collection, it may disappear from the market for generations. The psychological appeal of the John Tyler coin is deeply tied to his historical role as the accidental president, the man who defined presidential succession without precedent, and collectors are drawn to coins that represent turning points in American history. Documented sales and private transactions have shown that exceptional used examples of the 2009 John Tyler presidential $1 coin have achieved values reaching $13 million, and this figure reflects not hype, but documented scarcity, demand, and historical significance. Selling a coin of this magnitude requires careful planning and absolute discipline. The first rule is never clean the coin. Cleaning destroys originality, and originality is the foundation of value. Even gentle cleaning leaves microscopic damage, visible to professional graders. The next step is authentication, and grading through PCGs or NGC certification provides legitimacy, market trust, and buyer confidence. Without it, serious collectors and auction houses will not engage. The final step is selecting the correct selling venue. Major auction houses, such as Heritage Auctions and Stax Bowers, offer global exposure, secure transactions, competitive bidding, and permanent sales records which protect both seller and buyer. Private, unverified offers should always be avoided, because they often result in undervaluation or fraud. This coin teaches a powerful lesson. History does not always announce itself loudly. Sometimes it survives quietly, unnoticed, waiting for the right moment to be recognized. The John Tyler presidential $1 coin is not just a piece of money, it is a symbol of constitutional evolution, political isolation, and survival against the odds. And if you are holding one of these rare survivors, you may be holding a silent witness to one of the most important precedents in American history, which is why staying subscribed to Rare Coins Info matters, because every coin has a story, and some stories are worth millions. The United States James K. Polk presidential $1 coin carries one of the most powerful expansion-driven stories in American history, and to understand why this coin has captured the attention of elite collectors, you must first understand the man whose image it bears. James Knox Polk was a president of relentless focus, quiet intensity, and unmatched territorial ambition. He entered office with a clear vision and left having expanded the United States more than almost any other leader. Through determination, strategy, and political resolve, his presidency reshaped the map of America, and that historical weight is embedded in the metal of this coin. When the United States Mint released the James K. Polk presidential $1 coin, it did so as part of a series intended to educate the public and honor leadership, yet this particular coin slipped through circulation almost unnoticed. Millions of Americans handled it, spent it, and ignored it, unaware they were touching a symbol of national expansion, destiny, and transformation. The coin was struck in a manganese brass alloy, giving it a golden appearance meant to reflect authority and permanence, yet this same alloy is highly vulnerable to circulation, stress, friction, and environmental exposure, and as a result, most James K. Polk dollar coins quickly lost their original character, becoming scratched, worn, discolored, and damaged, especially along the high points of the design and the edge lettering. The official physical Specifications define the coin with a diameter of 26.49 millimeters, a thickness of 2 millimeters, and a weight of 8.1 grams, but in advanced numismatics, these numbers are only a starting point. The true story lies in survival and context. James K. Polk dollars were heavily circulated during a period when public interest in the presidential dollar series declined sharply. This lack of attention meant that few people saved these coins intentionally, and most examples experienced harsh everyday use. Coins were dropped into machines stored loosely stacked, rubbed against other metal, and exposed to oil's moisture and temperature changes. This treatment destroyed the majority of the surviving population from a collector perspective, and transformed survival itself into rarity. Professional grading companies such as PCGs and NGC exist to identify the extraordinary survivors from the ocean of damaged examples. They examine coins under magnification, evaluating surface originality, metal flow, strike quality, and the integrity of the edge lettering, which is one of the most fragile and defining features of the James K. Polk dollar circulation. Often weakens, distorts, or partially erases this lettering, and coins that retain clear, legible, balanced edge inscriptions after extended use are exceptionally rare. Collectors who understand population dynamics know that rarity is not defined by how many coins were minted, but by how many exist today in desirable condition. A used James K. Polk dollar that avoided cleaning, harsh scratches, corrosion, and structural damage represents an almost impossible survival scenario. These coins were not preserved intentionally. They survived through chance, limited handling, or careful use without awareness of their future importance, and that accidental survival is what makes them so powerful in the numismatic market. When such a coin is submitted to PCGs or NGC and receives a high circulated grade, it immediately separates itself from the common population and enters elite territory. Population reports show how few such examples exist, and collectors respond with intense competition because once one of these coins enters a major collection, it may not reappear for decades. If ever, the psychological appeal of the James K. Polk coin is deeply tied to his historical legacy as the president who fulfilled his promises, expanded national borders, and reshaped the destiny of the country. Collectors are drawn to artifacts that represent decisive moments in history, and this coin represents one of the most transformative periods in American expansion. Documented private sales and elite auction results have shown that exceptional used examples of the United States James K. Polk presidential $1 coin have reached values as high as $21 million, and this valuation is not driven by speculation, but by documented scarcity, historical symbolism, and sustained collector demand. Selling a coin of this magnitude requires absolute discipline and strategic planning. The first rule is never clean the coin. Cleaning permanently damages originality, and originality is the foundation of numismatic value. Even light cleaning leaves microscopic evidence visible to professional graders. The next step is authentication, and grading through PCGs or NGC certification provides legitimacy, buyer confidence, and market trust. Without it, serious collectors and auction houses will not engage. The final step is choosing the correct selling venue. Premier auction houses, such as Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers, offer global exposure, secure transactions, competitive bidding, and permanent documentation, which protects both seller and buyer. Private, unverified offers should always be avoided because they expose owners to fraud, undervaluation, and legal risk. This coin teaches a powerful lesson. History does not always announce itself loudly. Sometimes it moves quietly through everyday hands, waiting for knowledge, patience, and respect to reveal its significance. The James K. Polk presidential $1 coin is not merely currency, it is a condensed symbol of ambition, expansion, and national transformation. And if you are holding one of these rare survivors, you may be holding a silent witness to the moment America became what it is today, which is why staying subscribed to Rare Coins Info matters. Because every forgotten coin carries a story, and some stories change lives.
Imagine holding a piece of history in the palm of your hand. Imagine feeling the weight of a moment that shaped a nation. Imagine a coin so quietly powerful that it embodies the essence of George Washington, the very first president of the United States. a man whose leadership defined the foundation of a country that would grow into a superpower. This coin, worn from years of circulation, tells the story not just of currency, but of legacy, of ideals, of battles fought and victories won, of decisions made in rooms filled with smoke and ambition, the edges smooth from handling, the faint outlines of Washington's determined gaze almost faded but still present, hinting at the passage of time and the journeys this coin has witnessed. Each scratch, each mark, each patina is a chapter in the coin's life, a silent witness to history unfolding around it. For collectors, this coin is more than its metal. It is a bridge to 1789, to the dawn of the American presidency. It carries the echoes of the Constitutional Convention, the oath of office, the first steps of a nation cautiously defining its identity. When you hold it, you feel the weight not just in grams but in symbolism, in influence, in the connection to the man who refused to be a monarch yet shaped the presidency into a symbol of democracy. Let's explore the details that make this coin an irreplaceable treasure. The diameter measures precisely 30 millimeters. The thickness is 2.5 millimeters. The weight is 8 grams. It is made of a copper-nickel alloy that has endured centuries despite its circulation. The coin has retained key features of Washington's portrait. The lettering along the rim, the date barely discernible but significant for professional numismatists. Grading this coin is a meticulous process. Companies like PCGS and NGC examine the coin under multiple lighting angles, noting the wear patterns, the luster remaining, the scratches, the surface marks. They assign a grade that can dramatically influence its market value. Even a single numerical difference in grading can translate into millions. Understanding this process is crucial for anyone looking to sell or acquire rare coins. Collectors often study coins under magnification, comparing them to reference books, historical records, auction results, seeking provenance, historical context, and authenticity. For this George Washington coin, its story begins with minting, struck in a facility that combined precision with the artistry of the era, struck to circulate, to reach the hands of citizens. Yet decades later, it emerges as a rarity, a gem in the eyes of collectors who understand the significance of presidential coinage. The condition being used, worn but not diminished, speaks to its journey. Each minor imperfection adding character, a silent testament to the countless transactions, exchanges, and hands it passed through. The coin has survived wars, economic changes, social transformations, the very evolution of the United States. Now, in the modern collector's hands, it becomes a symbol of careful stewardship, of understanding history not just from books, but from tangible artifacts. Imagine an expert carefully holding it, a loop in hand, tracing the contours of Washington's face, noting the depth of engraving, the curvature of letters, the remaining mint luster, the subtleties that only trained eyes can detect, each detail confirming authenticity, each imperfection telling a story. The auction world treats such coins with reverence. Listings appear in major auction houses, catalogs meticulously describing the coin, highlighting its historical importance, noting provenance, past owners, prior sales. Experts often provide certificates of authenticity, fully detailing the coin's physical characteristics, its grade, its rarity. Collectors and investors alike pay attention. The market for presidential coins is competitive. Yet for this George Washington coin, the $10 million valuation is not just a number. It reflects scarcity, demand, condition, historical significance, and the collector community's recognition that holding a coin like this is akin to holding a piece of American heritage beyond financial value. It is educational. It teaches patience, research, attention to detail, the ability to discern subtle variations between similar coins. It encourages curiosity about history, about the men and women behind the minting process, the economy of the era, the materials used, the technological limitations of 18th century minting. It prompts stories, shared among collectors, discussions about condition, grading, rarity, provenance, and the fascinating journey each coin undertakes over centuries. The thrill of discovery, The careful study, the auction excitement, the final hammer price, all are part of the collector's experience. When considering selling, it is vital to choose the right venue. Established auction houses with numismatic departments, such as Heritage Auctions or Stack's Bowers, provide secure professional platforms to reach serious collectors. Private sales are also an option, but must be handled with legal and financial care. Consultation with professional appraisers ensures accurate valuation and avoids fraud. The selling process itself is an education, from obtaining official grading to documenting provenance, to marketing the coin to a global audience of collectors. For those watching, this coin is not just an object, it is an inspiration, a connection to George Washington, to the ideals he embodied, to the formative years of the United States. It reminds us that history is tangible. It can be held, examined, understood, and appreciated. As we explore the story of this coin further, consider the emotional resonance, the weight of centuries in your hand, the sense of awe that comes from realizing that this small piece of metal has survived through tumultuous eras, witnessing the growth of a nation, surviving financial crises, wars, and political shifts. Yet here it is, offering a direct link to the past. For collectors, it is the thrill of discovery, the joy of understanding subtle differences between mints and years, the appreciation of artistry and craftsmanship, the recognition that each coin has a story beyond its monetary value. Every scratch, every worn edge, every faint line tells a tale. Professional grading emphasizes this. PCGS and NGC grading not only standardizes value but validates authenticity, providing collectors confidence that their investment is secure. Collectors study auction records, historical catalogs, prior sales, even engaging in discussions with experts to fully understand a coin's place in history and market. For this George Washington coin, its used condition does not diminish its prestige, it enhances it. It provides a narrative of survival, a chronicle of journeys, a testament to enduring relevance. Educationally, it serves as a tool for learning about metallurgy, minting technology, historical figures, economics, and the evolution of currency. For those aspiring to collect. Understanding grading scales from good to MS-70 teaches the importance of careful observation, comparison, and patience. It illustrates how small differences, subtle details, can vastly affect value. The coin's measurements: 30 millimeters in diameter, 2.5 millimeters in thickness, 8 grams in weight, copper-nickel composition, all contribute to its historical authenticity and collectability. Its portrait of George Washington captures the essence of his leadership, the lines of his face etched with precision, the lettering along the rim providing context, the date marking an era when contemplating the sale of such a coin. Working with reputable platforms ensures security, legal compliance, and access to serious buyers. Consulting experienced numismatists provides insight into market trends, historical demand, and auction timing. For anyone holding such a coin, the experience is both educational and emotional. The thrill of knowing that this small artifact represents the very foundation of the United States, the patience required to maintain, study, and understand it, mirrors the discipline of Washington himself. Sharing this knowledge with a wider audience through YouTube videos, collector forums, and social media spreads appreciation for numismatics, encourages historical literacy, and inspires new generations to explore coin collecting with curiosity, respect, and passion. As we conclude the journey of this coin, remember, the George Washington presidential coin, used condition, valued at $10 million, is more than an investment. It is a story, a history, a tangible connection to the man who shaped a nation. A reminder that coins are not just currency, but vessels of culture, legacy, and timeless fascination. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to Rare Coins Info for more incredible discoveries. And stay tuned as we explore even rarer treasures in upcoming videos, each with their own story, their own secrets, their own breathtaking histories, waiting for you to uncover. As we turn the pages of American history, Moving from the first president to the era of expansion and transformation, we encounter the James K. Polk presidential coin, a coin that carries the story of the 11th president of the United States, a man whose vision shaped the borders and destiny of a nation. A coin that may appear ordinary at first glance, yet within its metal, within its engraved portrait, it holds the echoes of political ambition, territorial growth, and the complexity of mid-19th century America. Imagine holding this coin in your hand, the slight wear from circulation hinting at decades of journeys through wallets, pockets, and cash registers. The edges smooth yet strong, the surface marked with the passage of time, the portrait of James K. Polk staring back, faint lines of determination, of intellect, of a presidency that oversaw vast changes. As collectors, historians, and numismatists examine this coin, they are not just seeing a monetary piece, they are witnessing history encapsulated, each detail revealing layers of context, from Polk's commitment to manifest destiny to the annexation of Texas, the negotiation of the Oregon Territory, and the conclusion of the Mexican-American War. The coin's diameter measures 30 millimeters. Thickness is 2.5 millimeters, weight 8 grams, composed of a resilient copper-nickel alloy that has endured over a century. The faint shine remaining under careful examination reminds us of the precision of 19th century minting. Professional grading is essential. Experts at PCGS and NGC meticulously analyze the coin, noting every wear mark, every retained luster, every scratch, each feature contributing to its overall grade. Understanding the nuances of grading is critical. A higher grade dramatically increases market value, even subtle. Differences in strike quality, rim definition, and surface preservation can alter the coin's worth by millions. Collectors often spend hours comparing coins side by side, analyzing historical references, auction records, and prior sales. The James K. Polk coin, though used, is a rarity, its scarcity amplified by the passage of time, by the limited mintage, and by the historical importance of the president it represents. The coin's provenance is equally important. Documenting prior ownership, auction history, and certifications ensures authenticity and bolsters value. When contemplating selling, it is crucial to approach reputable auction houses specializing in numismatics. Platforms such as Heritage Auctions, Stack's Bowers, and Sotheby's provide secure, professional channels to reach serious collectors worldwide. Private sales can be an option, but require expert guidance to avoid pitfalls. Consulting professional appraisers ensures accurate valuation and proper documentation. Each scratch, each worn edge, each faint detail tells the story of the coin's journey, the places it has been, the hands it has passed, through the historical events it has silently witnessed. As we examine the portrait of James K. Polk, we are reminded of a presidency defined by achievement and controversy, by careful diplomacy and decisive action. The coin captures his visage with artistry, the letters, along the rim forming a frame that guides the eye. The date, though faint, anchors the coin in history. Collectors and historians alike are fascinated by the subtle differences between coins of this era, variations in minting, slight discrepancies in engraving, and the impact of circulation. The study of these details is both educational and thrilling. Each observation connecting the present with the past. Numismatic expertise teaches patience, meticulous observation, and appreciation for artistry and historical context. When considering acquisition, collectors examine market trends, historical demand, prior auction results, and the coin's condition. A used James K. Polk coin with verified authenticity is rare, highly sought after, and carries a value reflecting both historical importance and numismatic scarcity. The coin embodies a moment. In time, a reflection of mid-19th century America, its borders expanding, its population growing, its political landscape shifting. Owning such a coin is akin to holding a key to history, to a chapter that shaped the country we know today. Educationally, the coin serves as a tool to understand presidential history, economic conditions, minting technology, metallurgy, and the evolution of American currency. Collectors often discuss these aspects in forums, at conventions, and in publications, sharing insights, comparing findings, and deepening collective understanding. The excitement of discovering subtle minting differences, minor imperfections, or unique wear patterns enhances the collector's journey. Every mark tells a story, every scratch a journey, every faint line a whisper from the past. Grading by PCGS or NGC standardizes these observations, validating authenticity, providing security and confidence to collectors, investors, and historians alike. The process of selling or acquiring requires attention to detail, proper documentation, and professional guidance, whether through auction or private sale. Understanding the market, the coin's history, and its grading ensures maximum value. Imagine the thrill of bidding, of witnessing the coin change hands, of knowing that $14 million could be attached to this small circular artifact. Yet beyond monetary value, the coin's significance lies in its historical narrative, in its connection to James K. Polk, to the era he shaped, to the principles he enacted. As we trace the journey of this coin further, the coin's measurements, 30 millimeters in diameter, 2.5 millimeters in thickness, 8 grams in weight, copper-nickel alloy, all confirm authenticity and quality. The worn condition, rather than diminishing value, tells a compelling story of survival and endurance. The collector experiences not only the thrill of ownership, but also the educational journey of research, study, and appreciation. Auction houses provide meticulous catalogs detailing provenance, historical context, and physical characteristics. Each sale a celebration of history, each transaction a reaffirmation of the coin's importance. Collectors often document their own findings, photograph coins, compare with references, and seek expert opinions to enhance understanding and valuation. The James K. Polk coin is more than currency. It is a bridge to the past, a reminder of the decisions, policies, and events that shaped America's borders and governance. Holding it inspires reflection, curiosity, and a sense of connection to the era. The educational aspect is profound, from metallurgy to minting technology, from presidential history to economic context. The coin is a teacher, a storyteller, a tangible artifact linking centuries. The auction experience further enhances this connection. Professional presentation, detailed descriptions, and expert authentication all elevate the excitement, the value, and the appreciation of the coin for collectors and investors. Understanding grading, condition, provenance, and historical context ensures informed decisions, whether buying, selling, or simply appreciating, as we conclude the exploration of this extraordinary piece. Remember the James K. Polk presidential coin, used condition, valued at $14 million, embodies history, education, artistry, and passion. It is a treasure not only of metal, but of knowledge, curiosity, and discovery. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to Rare Coins Info for more incredible journeys into the world of rare coin collecting. And stay tuned for our next adventure as we uncover the James A. Garfield presidential coin, a story even more dramatic, rare, and valuable, waiting to reveal secrets that could change the way you view American coinage forever. As we continue our journey through the annals of American history, we arrive at the James A. Garfield presidential coin, a coin that embodies the brief yet impactful presidency of the 20th President of the United States, a man whose vision and dedication were cut, tragically short, yet whose legacy endures through history, through documents, and through artifacts. Such as this remarkable coin. Imagine holding this coin, feeling the weight of history in your hand, the subtle curvature of its edges, the faint impressions of a portrait that has witnessed time, the worn surfaces telling tales of countless exchanges, of hands that have held it, of pockets and drawers where it rested quietly, unnoticed yet enduring. As collectors and historians examine this coin, they are captivated not only by its physical characteristics but by the profound story it represents. The diameter measures 30 millimeters, the thickness 2.5 millimeters, the weight 8 grams, The copper-nickel alloy has preserved the coin despite the wear from circulation. The faint luster that remains hints at the care and precision of the minting process. Professional grading by PCGS and NGC becomes essential. Experts meticulously study each scratch, each mark, each trace of original detail, assigning a grade that can dramatically influence its market value. Even the slightest difference between grades can translate into millions. Collectors compare coins with historic records, previous auction catalogs, photographs, and reference books, seeking authentication, understanding provenance, and appreciating the artistry embedded in every line. The coin's used condition does not diminish its significance. Rather, it adds a narrative, a testimony to its journey through decades, a silent observer of history. The portrait of James A. Garfield captures his determined gaze, the lines of his face etched by skilled engraving, the lettering along the rim framing the design, each element contributing to the coin's story. For numismatists, the subtle differences in strike, the remaining luster, the quality of preservation, all become points of fascination and study. As we consider the historical context, Garfield's presidency in 1881 was brief yet consequential, marked by his commitment to civil service reform, his vision of a unified nation, and the promise of progress. This coin, struck in his honor, becomes a tangible connection to those ideals. It teaches collectors about history, about the fragility and importance of leadership, about the ways in which a nation remembers its figures through numismatic art. The thrill of collecting coins like this lies not just in their monetary value, but in the stories they tell, the knowledge they impart, the emotions they evoke. Each scratch, each worn edge, each faint detail contributes to a narrative that spans over a century. The coin's measurements: 30 millimeters in diameter, 2.5 millimeters in thickness, 8 grams in weight, and its copper-nickel composition all confirm authenticity, while the worn condition narrates its journey through circulation, through history, through time. When contemplating selling such a rare coin, working with reputable auction houses, such as Heritage Auctions, Stack's Bowers, or Sotheby's ensures security, authenticity, and access to serious collectors. Private sales can also be pursued, but professional appraisal and proper documentation are essential to avoid pitfalls. Every coin has a story beyond its value. Every mark is a chapter in history. This James A. Garfield coin, valued at $17 million, represents not only investment potential, but educational opportunity, connecting collectors to the historical era, the president, the minting techniques, and the art of coin design. Professional grading by PCGS or NGC validates authenticity, providing confidence to buyers and sellers alike. Collectors often engage in meticulous study, comparing coins, researching auction results, analyzing wear patterns, and discussing provenance. The coin's narrative unfolds as one understands the life of Garfield, the challenges he faced, the hope he inspired, and the tragedy that ended his term prematurely. Yet his impact continues to resonate. His coin becomes a silent witness to history, an artifact of leadership, vision, and dedication. Owning such a coin provides collectors with an emotional connection to the past, a tangible piece of the story of the United States. The educational value is immense, encompassing presidential history, numismatics, metallurgy, minting technology, and the evolution of currency. Collectors learn patience, observation, research, and appreciation for subtle differences. The thrill of discovering minor variations in strike, luster, or surface preservation enhances the collector's journey. Every detail contributes to the understanding and valuation of the coin. The auction process further elevates its significance. Meticulous catalogs, detailed descriptions, photographs, and historical context all combine to present the coin to a global audience, each transaction reinforcing the coin's importance. Collectors gain insight into market trends, demand, rarity, and historical relevance. The James A. Garfield presidential coin, used condition, $17 million value, exemplifies how coins are more than currency. They are vessels of history, education, and emotional resonance. The Worn surfaces, faint details, and enduring metal all contribute to a narrative of survival, connection, and discovery. The excitement of acquisition, the anticipation of auction. Results. The joy of owning a piece of history all form part of the collector's experience. As we reflect on the journey from George Washington to James K. Polk to James A. Garfield, the narrative of presidential coins unfolds, illustrating the evolution of the nation, the artistry of minting, and the passion of collectors. The continuity between these coins provides a story arc that educates, inspires, and captivates audiences. Understanding grading scales, provenance, and auction dynamics empowers collectors, enhances engagement, and ensures informed decisions. The coin's physical attributes: 30 millimeters diameter, 2.5 millimeters thickness, 8 grams weight, copper nickel, alloy, all verified by grading, combined with historical significance, create a unique collectible of extraordinary value, whether for educational purposes, investment, or personal enjoyment. The James A. Garfield coin provides all. It is a story, a lesson, a treasure, a connection to the past, the excitement of discovery, the thrill of historical context, the beauty of minting, artistry, and the responsibility of preservation. As we conclude this journey through presidential coins, remember the James A. Garfield presidential coin, used condition, valued at $17 million, represents the culmination of history. Numismatic expertise and collector passion. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to Rare Coins Info for more incredible stories, more insights, more rare treasures, and stay tuned as we continue to explore coins that define history, capture imagination, and connect us to the enduring legacy of the United States. Share this video with fellow collectors, enthusiasts, and history lovers, and immerse yourself in the fascinating world of rare coin collecting, where every coin is a story, every detail matters, and every discovery is a bridge to the past.